puzzle for you. Oompa, loompa, doopa-dee-dee. If you are wise, you'll listen to me.
Hey, welcome to Half the Battle.
You know, it's been quite a while since we last looked at Ninja Force, so we're going back to them today.
And this time, it's JBANG!
This figure was released in 1992 with all original body parts. And holy hell do we have another winner here! Yeah, I know we've been over this, but allow me to elaborate on a point I made when we talked about another member of Ninja Force. The word ninja is originally Japanese, and comes from nin, meaning to conceal or move stealthily, and ya, meaning person. So, a ninja is literally a stealthy person. Now, somebody explain to me how a bright yellow outfit is in any way stealthy. Once again, this ninja looks more like a wrestler than a shadowy warrior hiding in the dark. What, did Hasbro get upset when they lost the rights to make WWF figures, so they went, "We'll make our own wrestlers! And they'll be ninjas! And they'll be GIJoes! And we won't let Vince McMahon join our club!"
Moving on, since there is more to bitch about.
This guy is orange. Not the rage-inducing neon orange, I grant you, but still, with that skin tone, dude could double as an Oompa Loompa. Seriously, compare him to another figure. Oh, and if you think the skin tone is because he's supposed to be Asian, nope, he's from Rhode Island, and seems to have French roots. Next on my hit list, his pants. He looks like he's wearing jeans. What, was it Casual Friday at the Secret Ninja Dojo? You know, this entire outfit seems like it's something a kid would put together to play a ninja, without any help from his parents. Also, his mask would make him a good fit for Tiger Force. Or, again, what would happen if a kid tried to make a costume to look like that guy from Tekken?
There are a few semi-unique elements when it comes to JBANG, though.
This toy has two features you don't see in most other GIJoe figures. Like all Ninja Force figures, he has a real ninja move. In his case, it's called a silent Backslash, and means his torso has a spring in it, so you can pull it back and it will spring back forward, giving him a punching motion, or if you put a sword in his hand, a stabbing motion. His second feature are two ribbons that are supposed to be part of his mask. Those are actually kinda cool, but they're a bit long, so they seem they'd be a problem if he had to take a dump. He came with just two accessories, a sword and a sort of double hook sword that's for some reason called a battle axe. Neither are remarkable, though the sword does have some interesting backstory we'll get to later.
My overall feeling about the toy JBANG? Ugh.
And, well, let's be thankful for small miracles. That was the only toy he ever got. Sort of. You see, in 2014, a new version did come out as part of an exclusive set sold at the annual GIJoe convention. On the one hand, this has me worried that the Collectors Club is running out of ideas. But, on the other hand, this was from the same set as the Toxo Zombie. So, what we've got here is an actual ninja versus zombie situation, which I can only smile at. Shame they picked this quote-unquote ninja for it.
Now, let's move on to the character of JBANG! You know, there are times that I just make these videos to annoy my neighbors. You heard that, jackass?
Like I said before, he's from Rhode Island, and his real name is Sam LaQuail, leading me to think he's got French origins. And you know, this is another thing that bugs me about Ninja Force. Ninjas are supposed to be secretive, yet practically all their real names are right there on the file card. Just seems a bit counterintuitive. At least with Snake Eyes, they got this right. Not only is his name classified, but also his service number, and sometimes even his freaking rank. Anyway, this guy has something in common with Snake Eyes. He doesn't speak. Unlike Snake Eyes, though, who can't speak because of horrific injuries in most continuities, he took an oath of silence. Which is why the card art shows him screaming, of course. Well, to be fair, a vow of silence doesn't actually mean you can't speak, ever. Unlike how it's often depicted on TV or in movies, you are in fact allowed to speak. You're just discouraged from doing so. For example, it's perfectly alright to say, "Hey dudes, the building is on fire," or "Hey dudes, there's an angry bear in the kitchen." "Hey dudes, we're almost out of Budweiser," and that is kinda frowned upon though. I tried to get some more information on this, but all the people that I asked about their vows of silence refused to talk to me.
Moving on, it's time for JBANG's file card to get weird.
Storm Shadow was part of a ninja clan. And, well, this guy was actually a disciple of Storm Shadow's ninja clan's master swordsman. And he even forged his own sword. He then created his own secret technique, the silent backslash, alluding to the toy spring gimmick.
And just how did he perfect this technique, you may ask?
He sat in a dark cave and took swipes at bats that were flying around. Yeah, that's right. He spent God knows how long torturing and murdering small animals for a fighting technique.
That's not a GIJoe origin story. Those are the humble beginnings of a serial killer.
Hey, I wonder if that's why he took the vow of silence. Because what happened in that cave was between him and the dozens of mutilated bat corpses. Come to think of it, it's sorta weird, considering his sword technique is supposed to be super secret, and he's taken a vow of silence. So, how did whoever write these file cards ever find out about it? In-universe, I mean.
Oh, and you want to know how they came up with the name JBANG?
It's from the word JBANG, which is Indonesian for a sigh. Well, a type of sigh anyway. When it comes to his comic appearances, I can be brief. Ninja Force showed up quite a bit in the comic, especially during the time when the whole thing went ninja crazy. But since this guy didn't speak, he didn't get much exposure. Also probably because they already had a somewhat more famous strong silent type. Then there's the cartoon. He is seen in one episode of the Deke cartoon series, along with others from Ninja Force. And you know what? I figured I'd have to say the same as with the comic, that he was just a background character because he didn't talk.
Well, guess what? He talks in the cartoon.
Fellow ninjas, I believe it's time for our meditation to come to an end.
And he doesn't just talk to warn of impending danger, which, as I've said, is perfectly fine even if you have taken a vow of silence. No, he talks practically every time he's on screen.
So much for Cobra's scare from the air.
He had one defining characteristic. One! And the cartoon manages to screw it up. You know, every time I look at the Deke series, it seems it finds new and exciting ways of pissing me off.
And yeah, he basically only shows up once to promote his toy, as the Deke series was wont to do. Well, we've done the comic and the cartoon, so normally that would be it for talking about appearances in other media.
There is, however, one more place where JBANG does show up, and you'll never ever be able to guess where. No, seriously, don't even try.
He shows up in the full-motion video game Phantasmagoria 2, A Puzzle of Flesh. The game basically tells the story of a guy going insane while gruesome murders happen around him, and he may or may not be the killer. Also, plenty of bondage erotica that would make 50 Shades of Grey look like a Smurfs cartoon. Given all that, you wouldn't expect a GIJoe toy to show up there.
Though, since this guy likes to slice up small animals, perhaps he's the exception.
He shows up in a cutscene near the end of the game, in a flashback to when the protagonist was a little kid, and he's been playing with it. I only know about this because I was watching an old Let's Play by Spoony, that's where this footage is from by the way, and all of a sudden a GIJoe toy showed up.
This Let's Play was actually the inspiration for me to do this review. So, in case you ever wondered how I got my ideas, pretty damn randomly.
This also means that I have Spoony to thank for having to watch an episode of the Deke series again. Deke indeed.
And that was JBANG! My conclusion?
Well, the toy is an eyesore and I can do without it. As far as the character is concerned, well, we've seen our fair share of assholes, jerks, and douches that are supposed to be the good guys on this show. But I feel we've reached a whole new level of cretin with the guy who slices up bats for target practice. Yeah, I think this is one character that's best forgotten.
Well, see you next time, everybody. JBANG!
Oompa loompa doompa-dee-doo, I've got a perfect puzzle for you. Oompa loompa doompa-dee-dee, if you are wise, you'll listen to me.
What do you get when you guzzle down sweets?
Eating as much as an elephant eats.
What are you at, getting terribly fat?